having me on, guys. This is awesome. I love gear, love talking all about it. So yeah, this is going to be really fun.
A lot of this equipment we're talking about is, it can be used for musicians and content creators in general, if you're a YouTuber.
And I've shot probably 90% of my show on this little camera.
I love you guys. Chris, you're just amazing. Jim, so are you. You guys are the best hosts ever, I think.
Just stop, please.
That's it. Thank you, Dave Jackson and Jennifer Watson, for that intro. Makes us smile every single time. My name is Chris Stone. I'm with Cast Ahead at castahead.net. And the gentleman that is over on the left part of your screen doing marketing the Marine Corps way, Jim Fuse. You have a case of the Mondays.
Actually, I'm a little jealous of our guest today because he lives somewhere that I lived for 4 years, and that is the beautiful island of Oahu. I can't remember. I think he's on the Waikiki side. I lived in Kailua a long time. But yeah, dude. I mean, can you believe it's the Monday after Prime Monday, which what a crazy week that was. And we got our rest back. This is the first time we've actually been on since the Prime days.
That's true. I didn't know how to act for a couple of days. That's right. So yeah, good, like you were saying, Jim, good morning and aloha to everyone on the other side of the world, yet a part of the 50 states of the United States. We've got a great guest today. And Jim, this has been a long time coming because we talked about having Doc Rock as a part of the Dealcasters show, and just the stars were not aligned. And quite frankly, I thought he didn't like you, and that's probably that could be no. I'm saying that's not part of the reason at all. So, as always, we're going to do a little quick housekeeping for everyone. Thank you for joining us. We see some people already. Aloha, Sean, you're in the chat already. He's live on Amazon, and we also see a lot of viewers there as well. So come on over to Amazon, and we make it easy. We're live everywhere. We're on LinkedIn today. We're on Twitch. We're on all the tubes. But we want you here on Amazon because when Doc Rock starts talking about some of the stuff that's going to help you and to be a better video creator, to be better on the camera, to be just a better entrepreneur and person, quite frankly, you're going to want to know some of those tools and tricks and things that he uses that's going to help you on that journey. So we make it easy for you to get here from wherever you're at to Amazon. And the way we do it is we've created what we call a little redirect. And so we just said, you know what? Amazon, thank you so much for having us on this platform. But the link you gave us kind of looks like hieroglyphics with lots of slashes. And as Jim says, you lost me at the slash. So we have a little bit of a redirect that gets you here to Amazon. So all you got to do is open up your browser and type in dealcasters.live. If you type in dealcasters.live, you will be live here with one of the main people, founders, I guess, and we'll get into it, of Let's Get Live. That's also a .live. And so if you're wondering, like, how do I get my own show to have a .live? It's easy, it's inexpensive, and quite frankly, Jim, if you're not doing this as a content creator, you're kind of missing out on some search engine optimization. You're missing out on a way to communicate your show in Clubhouse rooms and Twitter Spaces and all these places, and it's a real easy way to do that. And so for us, it's about just going to name.com/live. Promo code is GetLive, and for $1.99, less than a cup of coffee, you can get your own .live show. And that's just something that we feel very strongly about. Jim, if it was way more than the $1.99, we'd still do it and still be talking about it. So I'm excited to get a Doc on the show. So get ready for to maybe have what we call gas And so we'll talk about having gas on our show as well, and it might not be what you're thinking about. So Jim, do you want to have the honor to introduce our guest this afternoon?
So first of all, I have a lot of respect for Doc Rock. Sean Doc Boyd, known as Doc Rock, is an Army veteran. He lives in Hawaii. He's spent time all over the world. I know he spent a lot of time in Japan. He's just an all-around good dude. I mean, he's extremely bright, intelligent. I mean, he worked for Apple at one point, so he's kind of like us. He's really into the Apple stuff, and he's not only started co-founded the Let's Get Live community, but he's also a community manager for ECamm. So he's definitely an ECamm evangelist. I know we kind of kid around with that sometimes, and I'm a part of his group because I tell you, I learn something all the time. He's made me spend a lot of money on my Mini, which I still got to get rocking and rolling, but I did do it because of Doc, because what Doc says usually works. So I think without further ado, let's bring us some aloha and welcome Doc Rock.
Yay! Welcome to the It's about time, Doc. What took you so long, man?
You know, life, I guess. Life,
right.
Busy, and yeah, man, it's crazy. One disadvantage of living out here in the middle of the water is that everyone else is like going to bed. We're like, hey, what's up? Good morning. They're like, morning. I'm in my blanket. So the last time zone in the world, that is us.
I know, you go live a lot. You go live a ton, and you know that. But those that are watching should also know that and catch his streams. But you're also responsible, not only responsible, like Jim said, of costing me some money, because you do. I'll watch your streams and I'll be like, okay, I need that. Okay, I need that. Okay, I've got to get that. But also, they happen to be later than your normal stream, so you do cause me some sleepy mornings. But
sorry,
it's no. Listen, it's worth it, because the streams that you have, across multiple channels, if you're not following Doc Rock right now, at least at the very minimum, you need to go and hit the YouTube channel that he's got. And I know, Doc, you have a ton of great replays that. Are there, and of course a big part of the ECamm Live community. You are the community manager there. Just some super valuable streams to anyone that wants to not just level up what they're doing, but what I find, Doc, is you not only just talk about this expensive stuff, right? People will just all of a sudden start jumping into this DSLR, thing, and the cameras they're talking about are, minimum 4 digits, right? And all the lenses and all that stuff, and you can talk that game. But then what I like a lot about what you do is, you know what? If you want something that's within this budget, this is really good, and because you've had experience with those things. And do you see that's most of your viewership is these people that want to do really well, but they're like, listen, I don't have $4,000 budget to be able to spend on this stuff. Can you tell me something that gets me in this budget? Okay, I think we're frozen.
He's in deep thought at the moment.
Whenever my internet's frozen, I always fear that moment to where it's on the worst possible frozen face. And this is actually like contemplative Doc frozen face. So, okay, there he is.
All right, sorry. It's so funny. Like, I have flawless internet majority of the time. Today, we finally come, and then Jim is like, okay, I'm going to make Doc have funny frozen face. I completely blame Jim. So that's it. What's funny? I think I get the people that know that they want to get to a particular level, but are willing to start crusty. Like, I'm all about, it's completely fine to start crusty. I think where it's bad, the people that never stop being crusty, even when they get good, or they're starting to make some income, they found their groove, and they just stay there because, well, it's working. yeah, I don't think I really get those people. I get the people that start wherever. It might be starting with a phone, but they know that their goal and their driven intention is to get to where they have a fully fleshed out, custom built studio, kind of like what we do.
Man, starting crusty. Jim, you and I used to say start ugly. Like you just hit the button and start ugly. Start crusty. Yeah, I like start crusty. It's a little bit more.
Well, I'm thinking of like Krusty the Krab from SpongeBob too.
Maybe start crusty comes from the only bad part about being an Army guy and not a Marine guy is we never got to say stay frosty. That was theirs. So I can start crusty because that'll be the closest I get to being able to say stay frosty.
Exactly. What's up, Deb from Agora Pulse jumping in? We've got a lot of people jumping in from LinkedIn and from Facebook. Denise, another Amazon Live content creator. She's on both channels. Like, what's better than Doc Rock on one channel on Facebook? Doc Rock on Facebook and Amazon is what's better. So thanks everyone for joining us. And Doc, I told Jim. And I may have mentioned to you, I had to turn off my one-click ordering on Amazon because I just am afraid, like, if you start talking about this stuff, you're just going to talk me into it because I think, the camera that I've got that I love right now is the Sony ZV1. And, I knew it was time for me to, there it is. I knew it was time for me to get a better camera. I'd been using, some webcams and I put aside a budget. But when I was, watching your streams, I was watching Diana Gladney's streams, I was watching Kevin Colby's streams. These are all like people that I respect from a content creation and video perspective. And it just came down to, well, what are you using it for? Like, what is the camera for? Is it for something you're going to do television production? Is it only going to sit on your desk? Are you going to want to move around with it? And I just, I was still confused. And I don't know if it was Diana's video or it was a lot of the videos that you were talking about the ZV1. But it was like, why am I worrying about another lens and with a DSLR or mirrorless camera, whatever you're going to call it, when I could just get the ZV1 and it's exactly everything that I need. And it'll last for a while, and I don't need to spend $1,000 on it. I could spend $650 or $700 or whatever the price was at the time, and it was one of the best purchases I ever made. So I got to thank you for that. Jim, again, this could have been worst frozen face.
He's thinking about it, but it's another good thing. I know, right? We've got a clicker, and we're just like,
okay, there we go.
Okay, we're gonna count these, and then I'm gonna choke Spectrum after this is over. We did a stream with Dinah, David, and myself, right, the founding partners of Let's Get Live, and we talked about is the ZV1 the like sleeper camera for content creators and small business owners. Let's just say you don't even want to be a quote unquote content creator, which is wrong because you do. The ZV1 as a small business owner is probably the best investment you'll ever make from a tiny camera perspective. Takes fantastic photos, has the product feature part built in, but when you do decide to engage with your audience, pop your camera on and talk to them directly, you can. If you are a Instagram person, you can shoot vertical like right out of the gate. This is already in the proper format for you to send it to IG or TikTok or wherever. You can take a USB cable, plug it into your computer, and it's a webcam. So even if you did nothing but do your Zoom calls and not look like a dork with a crusty background and the weird Zoom thing where the background into your head every couple of seconds. I don't know why people still do that. I mean, like, because the ZV1 is so amazing, what happens is a lot of people buy it, never read a single manual, don't know what it is, are tripped out when they open the box. The box is about yo big, but then when you take it out, the camera is like yo big. And you're like, what is this? Where's the rest of it? That's it. It is so much power packed into this little body, kind of like Limwell. It's really small, but yet powerful. I think people don't understand. And so my buddy at Best Buy said, oh, people always return it. And then we're like, are you sure? And they don't know, like, it shoots incredible slow-mo. It does fantastic time lapses. The color is incredible. It has amazing stabilization, built-in ND filters, built-in like audio, the dead cat thing that you put on the top to keep it from being goofy. Like, it is such a powerful camera. And most people, because they A, don't read manuals, B, never really did their research, they don't understand it, so they return it. And he's like, oh, just tell everybody if they want one, come see me and check the open box section, because there's always one in there. And then you get an amazing deal on a fantastic camera. So I want to buy one more white one just so I can have a pair.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, the thing I loved about it mostly is I didn't have to like read a book report or do a bunch of math to get it set up. There was a couple of settings. I'm not sure what YouTube video I saw. It's like, here's your basic settings. Turn this on, turn this off, make sure it's on this, make sure it's on this, and you're good to go. That's what I needed. I needed something that was going to be this great, and it didn't take, it wasn't like trying to do some sort of, science project to get the thing hooked up and done right. And, everyone talks about the bokeh, right? Everybody wants that, the look that you see behind Doc, and somewhat what you see behind me is the back is like defocused, right? It's a little bit blurry. We call that the bokeh. And if you've got a camera that is, really great and has a great lens like a Sigma or something like that with another Sony camera or whatever, you're going to be able to dial it in and get that bokeh. Well, on the ZV1, you can get that, and all you do is hit a little button, and it's like a defocus button, and you can get it, and it doesn't, I don't want to do math, I want to be able to plug and go and then be able to pop it on a little, vlogging kit and just go and do what I need to do, and this one hits it, man.
And I think Doc is in deep thought again.
Man, we just can't time it to where I get to the end of the question and he's still there and moving. It's just like we just can't spectrum. There we go. Maybe. No, we don't.
There
All right.
is.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, this is funny. If you guys haven't had a chance to look at these, something that I just picked up a little bit ago, so it may not be in your carousel. I don't know if you can live pop things into carousel because I'm not that smart on this as you guys are. This little bottom piece I bought from Ulanzi. Okay, I'm going to show you a trick. Watch this. You squeeze the red button, camera's off. Put it back like that. So this is good because when you want to be able to just take it and go, cool thing is they're like $20, but you just squeeze the unlock thing. Of course, you can't do it straight. There you go. It's better if you're holding it straight, to take it on and off, but it's quite amazing. It's called the Ulanzi Claw. They're super cheap. They're on Prime deal. As a matter of fact, Alexa just told me that the new ones that I ordered are in the mailbox because I ordered like 8 more. I'm putting it on every single camera. It's super cool. So it actually didn't even come with this tripod. You can get it.
It's in the carousel, Doc.
Okay, so you can get it as a separate, or you can get it as a complete with the ball head and everything. But oh my God, this is a game changer. And the little bottom piece that I have for my ZV1 is like $20. And it just gives it a little bit of ridge. And because my hands are massive, that extra little 1/4 of an inch just makes me feel like it got more purchase, when I'm holding it. But it also makes me feel like if I were to drop it, it will be okay. So I'm never going to drop it, but yeah, it's there. And I guess the last thing I like about it is it has a tiny little 1/4 here on the bottom. So that way, when I do want to shoot in vertical mode for IG Live, which is now going to be available to be done from your desktop coming soon, it'll be good to go. So my ZV1 was ahead of its time, and now things.
I couldn't hear what you said.
No one's talking to you, Siri. I said the A lady. Ooh, Siri.
Everybody wants to talk to you, Doc.
Siri's getting frosty because I'm talking to the A people over here, and she's like, "You cheater! Thought you worked at Apple." I'm sorry. Don't get saucy.
See, those are the kind of tips you get when you watch a Doc, and those that are watching Doc Rock for the first time. Those are the kind of little things that are actually big things that you'll get, because I was stuck a little bit on the camera, and it just took a couple of quick little things from Doc, and there's that thing with the battery door where if you're going to use a battery and you're going to want to plug it in, you're going to and it was like, no, here's 2 things you need to buy that cost $20 and it completely absolves the problem. And I'm like, psh.
But the battery door one is semi bad word of 9, because if you plug in the USB cable, this camera, I run it 8 days solid off of the USB plugged into the computer, and it doesn't care. Yeah. Like all Sony cameras can power from the USB. So when everyone talks about their battery doors, I just laugh at them. I'm like, if you're using it for streaming, cool. But the other thing is, when I go for really long, something like my niece is doing her karate performance or whatever, I will sit this guy on a tripod, and then I will plug in, my anchor battery that you use when you go on vacation. I have that 100-mile-an-hour tape. What do we call that to civilian people? Duct tape or gaffer's tape. I have that gaffer's tape to my tripod, and the camera's running off of that, because if you try to run a long recording off the tiny battery it comes with, you won't be friendly. But all Sony cameras can run off of an external battery pack, which is why I always laugh at the M50 people talking about their batteries don't last long enough.
That's the kind of $1 million information you get here on Dealcasters for absolutely nothing. That
we got to start charging then. Hold on.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Pull up that buy me a coffee link. Yeah, right.
I mean, I had never thought of that, but because Chris has been bugging me about it's time for me to get step up my camera game. Well, you guys have already made me decide. In fact, now I'm going to have to start going to Best Buy. Say, do you have any open box Sony ZV1?
Or you could just do it from your seat. Just sit in your chair,
true.
go to Best Buy and look on it, and then click on open box, and it's there. I'm under the impression they're going to do a bump revision of the ZV1. So the price just dropped like a month ago, which is sign that Sony is cooking something up in the laboratory. So yeah, you can probably get them relatively cheap right now.
Yeah, but we are on Amazon. And so we're encouraging everyone on Amazon.
Oh, go to warehouse.amazon.com. There you go. Yeah, that's even more brilliant idea, Doc. Situational awareness.
Now, what is the warehouse? Is that a place where Amazon also does a similar thing? Or
Yeah. I'm always in there. I look constantly. When I want to buy anything crazy, I go warehouse.amazon.com and check to see if they have it. Sometimes if you look at your the buy page, they'll say there's like 8 more just like it at a discounted price, and you click that and they'll take you to warehouse. But I'm always looking in there, because all it is when people return stuff, and sometimes there's nothing wrong with it, or they check it and they give you your same return policy, and the warranties and all of that are still legit. So everybody like, oh, this was really cheap because the box is dented.
There's another thing, Chris. Did you know about the warehouse.amazon.com?
I did. Yep.
Yeah. I live in that place.
Yeah,
Chris,
I'm always Jim will tell you I'm always about like refurbished stuff, or last year's model is another thing that I'll jump at, because you know how this goes, especially with cameras, and it's like, well, when the new hot one comes out, what happens to last year's model? Price does this, but it could be awesome. Yep. And so, the good cameras are going to hopefully last you many years, but there's tons of people that they just have to have whatever the new one is. Got to have the new iPhone. I've never owned a brand new iPhone of a new model that exists. I'm always like 2 models back, because what's the point? I'm just going to,
You know who gave me my first iPhone, Chris?
Who's that?
Steve.
Oh,
Jobs. There's only one Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess Jobs, but really?
Yeah, he gave me my first iPhone.
Wow.
I got to hear that story.
All of us employees, he just decided the day before launch, he goes, you know what? The only way everyone's going to know what this is, we're going to give one to every employee. And every employee got phones. It just came out of nowhere. We were at the store, and they're like, everybody come to work 20 minutes early. Okay, you come in, and like the whole staff is there. Day shift, night shift, in between shift, janitors, everybody was there. And we're like, what are you doing here? It's not your shift. And next day they roll out a cart and they're like, Oprah, you get an iPhone, you get an iPhone, you get an. So everyone had a chance to, set it up and do all of that. And we were so distracted. Like when the people came to buy their phone, we were all just like, oh, look at it, look at it. So people standing in line, because the line the first day, the line was dumb. Like Jim been here. So Almoana Center is a massive mall. And the line like traipsed the entire mall from the Apple Store all the way down. Like it was just insanity. And yeah, it was like, have you seen it? Have I seen it? Bang, look, it's right here. So yeah, that was the rule. Until we got to like 3, I think we all got our first 3 phones from Steve. And then when Tim took over, he didn't give us free phones.
Man, hey, so Deb Mitchell wanted to know, does the camera actually have a power zoom? And I think I know the answer, but I'll let you guys answer.
Yes, it do. Yes, it does. I will say this about zooming though. I tell people this all the time. See, it just zoom in like that. But I tell people this all the time. If you're at the point where your zoom doesn't reach, you're probably not supposed to be shooting it. Nike Zoom is the best. If you can't walk there and you can't get a decent frame without touching anything on the camera, you're probably not supposed to be shooting. I know there's rare cases, whatever, but yeah, it's just, I've always told people that when it comes to photography oriented things.
Nike Zoom is the best.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. And I used it. This has just become the ZV1 show, but I've used it. I used it to. I got hired to do a little video work for somebody a couple weeks ago at an event, and some of the best photos that they felt like they've ever gotten were from me doing a video and just hitting the photo button as I was taking video. And, and that to me was like, I couldn't believe how great this photo was. And it was completely random. It's not like I look and I saw the perfect photo and said, click, that's it. I was just hitting photos as I was doing video and then saw it later. And the guy I did the work for was like, that's the money shot. I don't know how you got that. I was like, do I tell him how I really got it? Because I really didn't do much.
You want to know a low-key secret about the ZV1 and that most people don't know? It's a 6K camera that outputs 4K. So the nerd side of that, what that means is, okay, you guys are looking at my little picture here. You can see my bookshelf here, and you can see my stormtrooper. Don't touch the stormtroopers troops, like right here. So it's actually shooting wider than that. So if I was bouncing and there was some kind of stabilization problem, the camera stabilization actually will move the frame around in that 6K frame instead of the 4K frame to get you a good stable picture. And then Sony has a secret scroll app known as Catalyst Browse that if you ever had something that was just way too shaky and you wanted to try to fix it, you can download Catalyst Browse. It will pull the raw sensor data out of the camera and then give you a stable shot because it is actually a 6K camera shooting in 4K.
Wow. See, I mean, like I was actually scrambling to write it down. I was like, what are you doing, Stone? Like this is this is a recording. I can go back and watch that and get the Catalyst app.
Yeah, just Chris, do yourself a favor and try to slow motion. It's mind blowing. Yeah. I'm chasing my dog around the backyard and he's like looking at me, stop chasing me, human. And I'm like, sit still. And then he's like, no, I'm a Chihuahua, dummy. And like, yeah. My old lady decided to get a Taco Terrier, which is half Chihuahua, half Terrier. And then she goes, why is he so hyper? And I'm just like, yeah.
What are those? Do you know what cameras? I know you're a sports fan, but I don't know if you're particularly an NBA fan or an NFL fan. But like the cameras that they're now using in the games, and we watched our Hawks here from Atlanta. They're not on the ropes yet, but we're not feeling great about them. But like the camera that they're using now. I mean, what is that, like a 100K camera? Are you seeing this camera where they'll get a shot on the court and it's ridiculously clear and there's like a bokeh going on behind an individual player? Do you know what those kind of cameras are?
Yeah, it's a Sony FSW65, and then sometimes for the smaller, like I got to move really, really quickly, it's a Sony FS6. FS6 is roughly around 15 grand. The 65s are in the like $80,000 range. But that's why I always thought it's funny when I watch like, you know, YouTubers and everybody, because I used to sell broadcast equipment. My family owned an electronics store, you know, my brother June. I always laugh when people say, well, this does this and this is this. And I'm like, yeah, when you get to broadcast, there's the one and only. Like no one's running around with anything but Sony cameras in the real space, especially your sports and all of that. So in the Super Bowl, when you see the guy with the Steadicam jacket on, it has like the little metal arm and the camera's on the front of it. Those are all Sony cameras, you know. And when they get hit by a linebacker and it goes flying, they just pick it up and keep shooting. And so people are like, well, why do you have such an affinity for Sony? I was like, well, I've sold it for like 30 years. So I know them inside, upside down, and sideways. And, you know, Canon and Nikon Nikon, let's be specific, are fantastic photo cameras, but I'm a video person. I do take pictures, but I am primarily a video person. And from the video space, they've never been touched with. Like they're borderline undefeated.
And now, Doc, I don't know if you knew this, because I know, like we said, Chris and us have, you know, kind of like talked, if you want to say, through social, but this is the first time you guys are on camera. But I don't know if you know that Chris actually spent 27 years with Sony.
Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, but Sony Music, right?
You're right,
Yes.
right. Sony.
Yeah,
and
I did know
Doc,
that.
you probably know this, but like
I knew
it's
that.
the Sony Music and Sony Electronics completely siloed, right?
Oh,
and then,
my
of course,
goodness.
There's PlayStation is another silo.
Sony's silos are hilarious to me. So when I was first like junior Apple guy, right, we were getting into like the original iMac, Bondi Blues, right? Just got rid of the USB port, the serial port, and the floppy.
Wow.
There's a company called Connectix, which we now know as Parallels, but they had a software that would allow PlayStation 1 games to play on the iMac. All you needed was the controller. And they were selling PlayStation games like crazy because the iMac was so popular. Well, SEN, Sony Entertainment, the hardware division got mad. Software division was like giving us props. Hardware division was mad. SEN is the same division, bro, but like there's two parts of that division, right? There's the guys that license the games and do all of the marketing in IGN magazines, you know, make all of the myriad things. And, you know, then there's the guys that literally make the hardware to sell. Well, hardware was pissed, so they eventually sued Connectix and Apple and made them stop. But it used to be that for maybe like the first year and a half of bubbly iMacs, they could play PlayStation games off the built-in disc.
Yeah. And it's like, even though the word Sony is, you know, it is known, like electronics, people would think this, right? Electronics and Sony Music and then Sony Pictures, right? And then Sony PlayStation. It's like, oh, they're all the, no. And it was always this thing at Sony that, you know, you want to do like this one thing, right? Can't we have like something that's music related, that's also PlayStation related, that's also a movie? And it's like, no, it's all about money. And these are different divisions that are trying to maximize their market share for their divisions. And I think the only thing that ever in the history of Sony that where it checked all those four boxes was the first Spider-Man movie.
Yes. And then now it belongs to Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like, they're an amazing company, but they're kind of like a freighter. You cannot turn a freighter in the harbor. You need tugboats to move them. They're so big that they can't move very quickly by themselves. But once they get their act together, they're really hard to mess with. Look, they dominated the music industry for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Doc, you know,
Yes.
Tell us, because I know this conversation on cameras, I mean, we've already learned a ton and everyone knows what camera they have to get next. But tell us a little bit about some of the things that I think you've really been passionate about. Like, what made you start Let's Get Live and that program? And then also you're probably, like I said, you're an ECamm evangelist, you're the community manager, and you know, Chris and I, you know, we do like ECamm. In fact, we're all right now, I think, using ECamm as a virtual cam, even though we're using StreamYard, because it does do a lot of great things. But tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are now.
You know, honestly, what started me on the live streaming journey and wanting to get it out there, I guess partially, you know, when you grow up like in the East Coast, like it was always something to listen to the old people tell stories, and I always got a kick out of that. You learn so much from that, being in two heavily cultural cities, you learned a lot about the different stories from the different cultures and things like that. So I was always enamored by orators. I was always enamored by storytellers, right? And then going to Japan, and you hear, when I lived in Japan, I was going to college there, and everything in Japan is about the story and things like that. When I was in Korea, I learned a lot about storytelling, same thing in China. And I was like, our world would be a much better place if everybody had the opportunity to tell their story. And so one day I'm sitting around and I go, what is it about people that they don't feel like they can tell their story? And I was like, there's two things. Everybody's been lied to about something called shy, which I have no idea what the heck that means because it's a completely made up construct. And the other part was, you should be seen and not heard. Right. That was something that we heard a lot as children from adults in my ilk. And I don't think parents realize that over you wanting to be comfortable of having some silence, you're squelching your kid's ability to communicate. Then as we all become bosses or we become teammates, one of the most frustrating things about teammates is when your teammates can't communicate. Right. When I was in the military, the only thing that lets Jim and I still be here is because our teams was able to communicate, to let each other know that there was a danger somewhere and we shan't go there, right? And if we could not communicate as a unit, we might not even be here right now. So once you start to learn communication and what it's really about and how it helps you take care of each other, it helps you take care of self, learning how to overcome things like being told you shy when there's no such animal. There's no DSM-5 trait called shy. You're not born shy. As a matter of fact, ask any kid under the age of 5 to talk to you about dinosaurs, sit down, crack a cold one. It's going to be 30 minutes, right? So how is it that when we become adults, we're afraid to speak up, afraid to explore, afraid to be wrong, afraid to tell our stories, afraid of camera? Oh, I'm afraid of the camera. I have never seen a single person get beat with a camera. Not one. What are you afraid of? There's no ghosts coming out. There's no roaches coming out. There's no rats coming out, no snakes, no heights, none of the above. The things that people are actually scared of that comes out of this little teeny black piece of metal and plastic. So why are you afraid of the camera? Why are you afraid to tell your story? By you telling your story, somebody needs to hear what you have to say, even if you think you have nothing else to say, because you're going to pick somebody else up and help them dust off from their place of darkness or misunderstanding or not feeling like they fit in. Maybe you'll develop an entire tribe of misfits that all fit in together. And then now you guys become the champions of quote unquote misfits, AKA Jim and people in our class on Saturday. Right. So I just think if you hold the story to yourself and you don't share it, you're selfish. Like, I don't care if you gave away $1 million a year and you hide in a box somewhere like Howard Hughes, then you're just selfish. So I think everyone has a story and everyone needs to let that story shine, because as we keep doing that and communicating and stop hiding behind things, it will allow people to see a better future, allow people to see better in and of themselves. So I thought if I just put all of my laundry in the street and just show what a messed up person I am, but I'm still going to tell you my stories, it would encourage other people to tell their stories. And so far I got 700 people in my personal Facebook group that all are down to tell their stories, no matter how crusty or ugly or whatever they are, because it's going to help somebody, and that's why I do what I do. I mean, that literally got me started on my journey, because I have this crazy wish now to want to impact the lives of 1 billion people. And there's no way I could do it by myself. So I have to build an army that's probably about 1 million deep in order to let that happen. right? I need each of my million to hit 1 million so that we can hit the billion.
That's amazing. And I like, because we talked about this a few months back. I mean, like you said, a lot of what you're doing too, right? It's talking about, I think you like to use the term the mind junk, right? We get all this junk in our mind that keeps us from doing exactly what you're talking about.
You G-rated it, but yeah. Sorry, Jim. Sorry.
No. It's, we're on Amazon. We gotta,
The Army guy and Marine guy that talk like a sailor. There you go.
Right. I know it's tough sometimes. I'm sure you laugh too, Doc. And Chris, I don't know if you ran around this, but I remember when I was in the military, sometimes when I would actually sit and listen to a conversation or think back on a conversation that was just had, how many explicatives were used in each person's sentence. That if they had taken those out of those sentences, we probably would have had the conversation done in half the time.
That's true. That's super true.
But
Doc, I love I love, like, you just, like, you could just tell, like, somebody hit the passion button in you when you were asked, like, like, why you're doing it, talk about Let's Get Live, and you just kind of went backwards and said, here's why I'm doing it, and here's the goal. And I think there's a lot of people, if they're in sort of as a content creator, they're thinking about financial thing. They're thinking about, well, how can I make money? How can I get, on YouTube? How can I, stitch together this and make this money? But, like, it almost feels like, of course you want to be able to make a living what you're doing. That's, kind of part of, quote unquote, living the dream. But it almost feels like, if you weren't getting paid for this, you'd still find a way to do it. And, like, like on video, you can't fake that. Like,
okay, but see, people miss the recipe, Chris. The recipe to making money, no matter what business you're in, is give the people what they want, give the people what they need, right? So even El Jefe is giving people the opportunity to just buy books without having to go to a bookstore that was far away. And then that turned into, well, if I can sell them books, I can sell them soap, detergent, socks, shoes, sneakers, drawers, cars, like whatever you want. So El Jefe just made it possible for everyone to buy whatever they want, whenever they felt like it, from the freaking toilet. And now him and his Lex Luthor looking self is like the richest dude in the planet. Right? So
I think we're lucky he's stepping down, because we're talking.
But the thing is, what people don't understand, if you give people what they want, give people what they need. So everyone says to me, okay, dude, like, I'm going to do the YouTube thing, and that's going to be my side hustle. I want to be like you, and then take my side hustle and eventually make it a full-time creator thing or whatever. And then I just slap them, and I'm like, how dare you? YouTube is not my side hustle. And they go, what? But I thought you started part-time. No, time has nothing to do with it. YouTube is my side helpful. I'm on YouTube helping people. My success comes from helping people, not hustling people. And then they're like confused, looking stupid. And I'm like, listen again, if you help people, if you give something that is beneficial to other folks, it will come back to you. It just is what it is. It's in every religion. It's in every book. It's in every book just about being a human and not being a wedding vegetable. All of the above. Like, if you help people, you will find it. And that passion thing drives me mental, because people are trying to find their passion, but you can't find it from the couch. You can't find it reading books, and you can't find it looking at the internet. The only way to find your passion is to go out, explore, and do things. If you're active, if you're moving, if you're doing things, if you're volunteering at some place, you go to Habitat for Humanity, start helping them frame a house, you might find out you love woodworking. And then you're going to teach your woodworking tips on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Amazon, whatever. And then now you're making some side income, and then that side income just blows up. And now you can quit the job that you say you hate, right? If you go to work every Monday, pissed off at Clarice that sits next to you, and then next Monday you still see Clarice, and you've made no movement in your life to stop having to sit next to Clarice, you don't get to talk. Just be quiet, because you're irritating. I'm sorry, and I hope I sparked some anger in someone to be like, the hell with that dude. The first person that says that, that's the guy we needed to hear us today.
We got a question from Jason Ellis on Amazon. I have a tech issue you maybe will help me with. What communication platform would you recommend for a live person to do video chat while using OBS to present my screen to the conversation? Zoom, Teams, Twitch, etc. Any thoughts on that?
Probably Zoom. It's the one that the least friction for other people. Even for us in the ECamm world, we do a lot of bringing the conversation from Zoom into ECamm. As a matter of fact, in our class on Saturday, Jim watched me do something crazy, which was take my entire class and just send it to Facebook out of pure craziness. So there's like 34 of us, and I just put us all in the Facebook group just to show that it can be done. And yeah, it was weird. It was funny, but it was weird.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, I would say
he also said though he gets an audio lag that he's using a virtual audio cable. Do you think maybe he needs to use loopback?
Okay, like so I'm a semantics person, and I don't mean to be mean, but I'm a semantics purpose on purpose, because you will have a hard time finding answers to your question when you say lag, because lag doesn't exist. It was a term made up by gamers during Counter-Strike because they were horrible Counter-Strike players. So there was an excuse for not being able to shoot properly. It's latency. And if you're searching for how to solve latency, there's myriad answers, but there's no answers about how to solve lag because it's not a real word. Okay, so now that being said, your latency will always exist because from me talking to this down the cable into the Rodecaster Pro, into Chrome, back into the Rodecaster Pro, up the headphones and into me, there is 150 millisecond difference. Why? Cables, electronics, wires. So that's always going to exist. The closest you're going to get to make it so that doesn't have that issue would be to use something like loopback or get a microphone or a mixer that has loopback built in. So if we're talking about something simple USB, the Rode NT USB Mini, the PreSonus Revelator, those all have built-in loopback, and they're like $100 and they just work, and they're super simple to set up, and you don't need an audio engineering degree, and you'll be good to go. If you already have something hardware oriented that doesn't have loopback built in, then you get a software called Loopback, or if you're not a Mac user, it's called Sound Siphon or Black Hole. And the two PC versions are much harder to set up, but they do work. And they will allow you to do that because you're basically going to siphon the sound from the conversation in Zoom, and you're going to bring that into OBS. Matter of fact, OBS has Sound Siphon built in. So just go do your research on Sound Siphon and OBS in Zoom, and then you'll be squared away.
Yeah, latency is something that a lot of people have just tried to figure out, but it just doesn't, like, it's why bands can't, be in 4 different states and actually record live. It's because that's not possible because you're not in the same room. It has to go into a computer, and no matter how fast your internet is, no matter how great if you've got the best computer ever, there will always be some even millisecond of delay where it's not going to be like you're in the same room. It's just
the best possible. Drummers in the world are not the best because they can play on beat. They're the best because they can play off beat. A monkey can play the drums on beat, but like a Chucky Booker can slide it by a couple of milliseconds so it matches the arena echo slap back from the walls so that it doesn't drive his other artists crazy. He's the tempo keeper, or she's the tempo keeper for the party. So if you listen to really good drummers, your Barkers, your Travis Barkers of the world, they talk about it. They're the best because they can actually play offbeat on purpose to make everything sound proper to the audience and to their bandmates.
Wow. I'm glad we're getting into the audio part of the conversation because I did want to touch on that. And Jim and I do a fair bit of harping on this, but I found it really refreshing that as much as you talk about video, as much as you talk about cameras, as much as you talk about all this other stuff, in like everybody that's in Let's Get Live, they all feel the same way. It's like if you ask anybody what's the most important part of your live stream, the answer is always audio.
Yeah,
and
it's the purple mic cover.
Yeah, I noticed that. Now that's a SM7B, right?
Yes.
But you got a purple cover. So are you getting like is that are you getting some sort of endorsement deal with somebody get some specialized thing now?
It was Keith bought it for me.
Okay.
I love it though because I have this one right here. But yeah, yes, audio in streaming or content creation in general, it is better to be heard than seen. Like seen is good, but we are audible people more than visual people. If you let people tell you to go, I'm a visual person, you couldn't see for 3 days. You came out, you smelled mama, you heard people talking, but you couldn't see for like 3 days, right? So the first thing you heard was your mama going, ah, bendito, provecita. Sorry, I'm Puerto Rican. My mom was like, what the heck? Oh my, send him back. You know, I can tell he's trouble already. But you heard all of these things first, you know? So people are just naturally hearing oriented in the most crowded place, right? You're at a party soon, you're hanging out, you're doing something, you're completely talking, somebody all the way over there be like, Chris, you just a thing. So it's better to be heard. Get your mic game together as soon as possible. And then a lot of people say, well, I don't want to buy this kind of mic because it's $200. I'm like, if you really want to do this, wash your brother-in-law's car, help him frame the house, help him paint something, do a fence, cut grass, just do it. Like it'll take you 3 weekends to get the money to buy a proper mic. Or you can just keep sounding funny, talking through your headset, doing this. Hello. Yeah, no. Just don't do it. And Jim's mic that he has, I have too. It's my backup. This is $50 microphone. So just get it. It's the best thing you're going to get. I keep this around. This is my go-to backup mic. It's literally $50-$60 and Samson Q2U, and it sounds better than half of what people are beating themselves up trying to get done.
So true. It's like, the $200 mic. If you can't afford it, like, mic technique is key. Easily soundproofing your room. You don't have to go and buy, hundreds of dollars of soundproofing. Get yourself in a small dead room, in a dead space to where it's not bouncing off of glass and bright walls. Put some padding, carpeting around, and you don't need a $400 mic. You probably want one. I know I want one because it will be better. But if you don't have a budget, it's just like mic technique. Do a little soundproofing. Get your mouth as close as you can to the microphone, but don't speak directly into it, or you're gonna get all kinds of air and plosives and all kinds of stuff like that. But you
know what I did for sound dampening when I had my Yeti back in the day? I used to put the comforters on the desk right behind the mic because that thing will pick up anything. Like it can hear 3 zip codes over. It was so obnoxious. I can't stand those things. They're very noisy. But what I would do to dampen the sound was I literally would surround it with blankets just out of frame. So I would dismantle my bed and just sit it right on the table behind me. And then if that didn't work, I'd put pillows or something there because that kind of stops the sound trying to get at it, can't make it past the fluff. So it dies there, So that's why you see drummers that have all of their blankets inside the kick. It's to stop it from messing up the rest of the drums.
Huh. Wow.
That's it. More $1 million information. I'm not sure I'm understanding this question. Jason Ellis on Amazon is trying to be more clear here. If I do the meeting in FaceTime on the iPhone, is it live? Zoom is live. OBS is where I'm losing my latency. I'm not following. I'm not sure, Doc, if you.
No, I kind of understand. And so, first of all, the FaceTime thing will get straightened out in iOS 15, but I kind of understand. And this is going to sound super mean, but it's true. I was in the same ballpark a little bit ago, and then I switched to ECamm, and I don't have that problem. So, I mean, the OBS is dope because it's free, but it's open source, so there's no one particular person that you can just call them and wring their neck and say fix this issue, right? When our community has an issue, they go, Ken, Glenn, this makes my face hurt, solve it, and they go, okay, and then a week later it's solved, software update comes out. It's real. So it's unfortunately the disadvantage of OBS. So as a PC user, I would say jump into something like vMix, or use StreamYard or something. I'd say it's better to get, I think everybody streaming should get out of OBS as soon as possible, unless you are so well versed that you can fix all of your own problems, because you have no way to really talk to a support staff and get that situated. So yeah, it is what it is. And the reason why you're having that issue though is still loopback. Like, you have to have a loopback channel so that you can grab the audio source before the processing.
I think you touched on a great point. It's like it's free, right? And so a lot of people go to it. So Anchor is free, and there's lots of other things that are free. But for me, and you touched on it right there, is there's two reasons why I'm skeptical about something that's free. And I'm not going to sit here and dog OBS. There's a lot of people that use it and do great at it, and I couldn't get it. It wasn't for me. But if it's free, they're making money somehow. And they might be making money off of you. So there's that, which is, that's me, and maybe I'm a little neurotic when it comes to that.
You're not.
But the other thing is, and you said it exactly, I want to be a customer. And if you're a paying customer, there's customer service. And when I have a problem with ECamm, I have somebody that I can talk to. And because I'm a paying customer of ECamm, yeah, he happens to be on our screen right now. No, but same thing. StreamYard, same thing with these. We use multiple different podcast services for what I do in my business. But Captivate, Buzzsprout, Libsyn, these are all great podcast hosts, and I pay for those. I pay for those because when there's a problem on those services, I want good customer service that's going to answer them. And most of the time, the free stuff, it's just, man, you're left to your own devices. Good luck. And somebody else getting
the thing about Anchor too, right. Chris, is not really free, because Spotify is collecting all the data they need that they can then sell to someplace, and or own your content. You know what I mean? So if you do happen to blow up and you did it from Anchor, and then Spotify owns you because you didn't read the terms of service. So yeah, it's technically free, but your boy Mr. Irk, or whatever the heck his name is at Spotify, owns your behind. You just don't know it because you didn't read it, because you were so excited to get a free Anchor account.
So let me get this straight. So we called out Daniel Ek and Bezos, and who else have we? No,
I call him Irk, not Ek. But I will be super hype if he buys Arsenal, because then it'll just be fun to just trounce them every year. Glory, glory, Man United.
So Jason is asking, and I'm gonna answer first on this, but I'll let you, Doc, answer this, because Doc, you were an employee of ECamm, but Jason's asking, how difficult is it to learn ECamm organically? I can answer that. ECamm does not pay me to say this, but I can tell you that Jim and I both downloaded it, paid for it, started it out at the together, and I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being ridiculously difficult and 1 being super easy. Yeah, I would say 4. I would say 4, and now I'm kind of a bit of a tech nerd, but I was willing to plow through some of the things that at the time were kind of quirky that they've fixed, because I could just do some really cool ish with it. I mean, I was, you can stack different cameras around, you could pull graphics in. When Jim and I do a presentation for Dealcasters, if we're speaking at a conference, we use ECamm. That's what we use, because they plop us in the middle of a Zoom, and we can take over the screen ourselves and use ECamm as a virtual cam to completely blow people's minds, because everyone else, what do they got? They're just jumping in a Zoom with the PowerPoint. Can I share my screen? Can you guys see this? Well, it's taking over my camera. We don't have to worry about any of that, because we can use this thing, and we're huge fans of it. But from a difficulty perspective, Doc, you deal with a lot of people that are different levels of whether or not they're tech people or not. How would you say from a scale of 1 to 10, which is Jason is asking?
In all fairness, I would give you what you said. I think that's a good amount, but I think it also depends on the person too. If you're willing to spend like just 60 minutes, you'll be able to do your entire show 60 minutes after you download it. Why? Because every Friday I do a 60-minute demo and I show you everything you need to know in 60 minutes every Friday. But many people will get stuff, download it, start doing things, not really know what they're doing, don't do any research, and then be like, oh, this is not working, and blame the software. But a lot of times it's the cable. Half the time, half of the stuff we find out when people in the group are losing their mind, we're like, get a new cable. No, but this cable is brand new. I know, just trust me, get a new cable. Oh, it works. Oh, wow. It's one of those things. That's streaming in general, no matter what platform you're on. But yeah, if we had to compare ourselves to Wirecast, oh, we are much, much. I was there for 10 years, bro. And it drove me crazy. So then I went to OBS and I was like, this is a perfect knockoff of Wirecast. It's a gorgeous copy, but it has all the same problems that Wirecast had, just that it cost me $900. It was a free Wirecast. And then so I was like, no, I did OBS for like 2 years. And I'm like, I can't do this. I need someone that I can hit when I'm upset. And then I found ECamm, and it's just great. The community alone, man, never mind everything else. The community is so dope. Because anyone will help you at any given time with any given question, and people are dying to help each other. And
so true.
It's an amazing community. Like, yeah, I say that as a community manager, but I got there from being in the community and just being the loudest. So they're like, well, Big Mouth, why don't you run this whole thing so we can keep making the software as good as you say it is? Okay.
Right. Well, and I think too, from what I've seen with OBS, even though people can do some neat things, if you're taking all this time to kind of teach yourself this OBS stuff, and ECamm already kind of has it there for you. And like you said, Doc, if you just watch one of Doc's Friday, lives, or even just go and look at some of the stuff that's on YouTube and everything else, you're going to learn it. I mean, it is a great community. I mean, I did the ECamm Academy with Adrian, and I learned really quickly how to do a lot of things. Even with a program like StreamYard, I can still bring it in to StreamYard. I could bring ECamm in and do all the neat stuff I want to do, because sometimes these things have limitation. And yeah, we've all heard great things about Wirecast, but not everybody's got $900 to spend on that software and then still have to worry about other things. So I think everybody's going to have their favorites. I do like ECamm. I think there's things, and it's probably me, Doc. I'm sure you could take me and Chris to therapy as to why we should trust it more. But I will say the one thing, that if ECamm allowed us to like co-log in, I think that's for us running a show. We don't want to put it all on.
I can neither confirm or deny next update. What? Nothing. No, we've been bugging them a lot about it. I don't know. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But that is something that is definitely high on the radar, and we bug the boys about it constantly. But they're so good at wanting to fix smaller problems that it takes longer to get to that. But it's also going to require some more thinking and some more adjusting. But we definitely want to up our remote production game, because that's what the community from the pro side needs. Our first initial thing over the last little bit was making it so the work from home people and the soloists can get everything that they need in order to perform. Now we can start working on the more, say, cerebral parts that designed for the money makers and the ilk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you're so right about the community. And one of the functions I love, because I'll do this with Jim sometimes too, when we're kind of trying to show each other how to do something in ECamm, is that live demo mode. And so I'll jump on sometimes and I'll see somebody going, hey, I just, used ECamm to do my kid's basketball game, and I was able to pull this in and do a scoreboard and and they just pop open live demo mode and show you exactly what they did on the screen in ECamm. And if I mean,
super
just that
genius.
alone is, oh man.
I don't know what made them put that in there, but that is literally one of my favorite things. I wish every software had that, so to speak, because you know what it is when you're the family, like, you know, software fixer person, like it's so simple. And even, you know, funny that you mentioned that. I was one of my sisters was having a problem with her calendar. So I basically took my phone and I plugged it in to my computer. I got ECamm running. So my phone is up on screen and I'm actually showing her as I'm touching the things. So my overhead camera can see my finger, but my screen is also replicated right there on the side. And then she was like, okay, thanks. I was like, thanks. Do you know the technological marvel I just showed you, lady? You know? It's just,
I mean, Doc, it's so true though. I teach online classes at a couple community colleges through Zoom. I've completely gone away from PowerPoint, and I use ECamm as a virtual cam because if I want to put up my bullet points, right, I just put a little graphic right next to my head with the key point, and then it's like, let me show you how to work this app, and I just pull up my phone, and I'm showing them in the app. I mean, it's just. It's a game changer as a presenter, and that's the one thing that I definitely love about you know, ECamm, and there's quite a few creators even here on Amazon that are using ECamm, and it's definitely a great. You know,
when you
great
pair it with that Stream Deck,
both use that.
You know, when you pair that with ECamm and Stream Deck.
Yes.
I mean, that's what when I figured out, okay, create scene, okay, program a button that hits that scene, that does, you know, oh man, that was it. That's when I was sold. I was like, I hope this, like, take my money.
Yeah, Stream Deck is the truth, man.
Yeah, I bought a Stream Deck, and but you also had that other crazy item that we could add to the carousel. Is it the
Loop Deck?
The Loop Deck.
Oh, Jeff C had one of those too. Do you use that for?
I love my Loop Deck.
Use it for like video editing or anything like that?
I use it for both. I have both. I have the Loop Deck Live for live streaming, which is right here. I currently unplugged it because I'm getting ready to set up my purple iMac. So it's going to belong to the purple iMac. But when I am editing video, this is my controller of choice.
Wow.
It's got all the buttons. You know why I like it? This is so dumb, but maybe Jim will understand. People are like, why do you like the Loop Deck over the Stream Deck? It has mil-spec knobs. And something about everything that we do, and it comes to comms or, like, you know, even just adjusting the defibrillator in the ambulance, I had these knobs, right? When I'm in the helicopter, I got those knobs, right? So for me, my brain just knows what to do with these knobs. These knobs are how we dial in everything. I think that's literally why they call them mil-spec knobs, because they are military specified. But in military, in all of our equipment, we got these exact knobs that control everything. So just out of habit, I just like the feel of those knobs. So
that thing looks a lot smaller than I thought it would be, or
it's
your
tiny.
hands are actually gargantuan.
No. Check this out. This iPhone 12 Max Loop Deck Live. So there's your reference point.
Wow.
It's tiny.
And Deb Mitchell is, yes, we are geeks. We know that. We
yes,
you know,
Deb.
that's why, you know, I always love. I'm always afraid to, like, watch Doc at night because I don't think I'll go to sleep because I know he's going to start talk. I mean, and Doc, I think that's why I have two Thunderbolt 4 you know, things now for my Mac Mini. I bought the Mac Mini because you told me to, and it makes a lot of sense. You know, I got the 16 gig because why get 8 when you can get 16? I mean, these are the kind of things that Doc gives you gas.
Okay, but I'm going to defend myself real quick.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No, I'm going to defend myself real quick. I tell everybody, see, the thing that's funny. Okay, let's take the Mac Mini, for instance, right? 8 gig versus 16. Everyone instantly goes, oh, but it's $200 more. And everyone says that it works perfectly fine with 8. And I go, yeah, but it's only $200 more. And they go, oh, yeah. And I was like, well, see, what's going to happen is I don't hold the computer more than 2 years. As soon as 2 years up, it's gone. I don't care what it's gone. I just don't, right? But most people aren't like that. So what's going to happen is 5 years from now, your 8 gig is going to not be able to do anything, but your 16 will still run. So whatever mountain or ocean, we're not going back to cats, whatever Apple OS, they're on space station, it will run on the 16 gig mini, but it won't run on the 8 gig mini because it doesn't have enough juice. Out of saving $200 6 years prior. So 6 years, amortize that $200 over that. You know what I'm saying, fam? We're talking like 30 bones a year. Like, why would you do that to yourself? And again, I got it. It's like, well, I don't have the money. Perfect. Brother-in-law, your fence looks like crap. I'll paint that sucker for $200. Like, I just can't stand that excuse when you're able-bodied. Okay, if you're disabled, one thing. But if you're able-bodied and you say, I can't buy this piece of equipment because of X, you don't really want it. You don't want it the way you say it, and you're using that excuse as an excuse not to perform because there's not an able-bodied human being right now that cannot go out in the street and gain the extra $200 in the course of like a day. But for most of us, let's say it took you a week. I'll make it hard for you. Let's just say it took you a week. An hour a day for a week, you can't pull up $200. I'm gonna have to start questioning your excuse, bro. I'm sorry, because no matter what your job is. I mean, I'm a teacher. Okay, cool. Tutor somebody, $25 an hour.
Yep.
Oh, my neighborhood can't afford that. Cool. Tutor somebody $10 an hour. 20 hours later, you covered the difference, right?
It's a pay me now, pay me later kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, 16 gigs. I mean, even if you're not like a huge video editor or whatever, like like peace of mind, and you won't be like, why is this thing slow? Why is this video not rendering? Like, why, all of those things, you'll never have that worry.
Yep.
That's worth it.
I get a lot of heat for that, for what I say, because I mean it, but I guarantee you, even when people say I don't have time, I go, let me track your time for 24 hours for a week. I guarantee you I can find 6 hours that you're just spending on nothing. You just don't know it, right? So my favorite thing to do to people that tell me that is I immediately go to, okay, like say it's football season, right? And one of my friends is like, man, I really envy you, blah, blah, but I just don't have the time. I'm like, yeah, man. Hey, how the Cowboys doing this year? Oh, man, blah, 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 da, 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 Dak Prescott, 43-11 to the 6, da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, how long is a football game? And he's like, what? How long is a football game? Average 3 hours with commercials, 4 hours. You just told me you don't have no time, but you just spit the entire statistics for Dak Prescott, right? I hate the Cowboys, by the way. Go Raiders, right? Or you just told me the ERA for like all of the top pitchers, right? Or, whatever. It can be basketball. I don't care what sport you're into. You know it. Like the guys that say that they don't have that time, or the females that say that they don't have that time, that can spit out some pop culture stuff and tell it to you verbatim, but they're like, oh, that ZV1 is too hard to learn. Come on, player. Come on. Like, don't make me check you, right? I'm sorry, bro. I got friends right now, the ZV1's too hard to learn, but I asked them what was 6 minutes and 8 seconds battle in Tatooine. They can explain it to you. Oh, so they came from Hawk, right? And then they was in the speed loader, and I was like, yeah. Well, like how many metachlorians was that? Blah, 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 and they spit it out. So I'm like, then don't tell me the ZV1 is hard to learn, bro. Yeah. I'm just sorry. Like I would take your excuse. I'm military, right? So what's the maximum effective range of an excuse? 0.0 feet per second.
I think that's one of the reasons why I love Doc so much, because it's that whole military thing. It's like, I want to hear your excuses. Get it done, right? It's like, I think you're so right, Doc. Because trust me, you're never going to hear that excuse from me, right? It's going to be one of those, okay, if I want to get this thing, then I got to either, right? I may not get it today. I might get it in 2 months, but I'm not going to go waste my money on the solution that's less than optimal. And if I got to make sacrifices, if I got to, sell stuff, give blood, there's all kinds of ways to come up with it if you really.
Sometimes it's better to wait anyway, to make sure that you actually need it, right? So in the process of trying to get the one that's really what you actually need, sometimes it's better to wait, because in the process of waiting, you'll go off of what you thought you wanted. This helps you eliminate knee-jerk purchasing, right? Because I just bought a lot of stuff that was a waste of my time, and I just told myself I'd never do it again. So now I don't do it. Like I'm gonna wait and get what's proper. Either buy it nice or buy it twice.
Oh, I like that. I like that one, and I like crusty. I think crusty and not the crab. We keep it crusty on Dealcasters with Doc Rock. Doc, man, this is I appreciate you spending all this time with us, and I knew it would be great, and I knew that I would end up spending money. And check. I'll be jumping in and picking up some of these.
I didn't make you buy anything today.
Oh, you did, my friend.
God.
What did you call that? The windscreen mic that goes on top of the ZV1. You called it something.
It's called
else.
the dead cat.
The dead cat.
That is an industry standard terminology for. Do I have one? Yes.
It's like the windscreen for the mic.
This is known as a dead cat in the industry. So yeah, this is what they call it. So the ZV1 actually comes on. Actually, I have this one like duct taped onto here so it doesn't come off, because this is my, connect this to the side of my ZV1 and make it look huge.
Oh, and you talked earlier about a bad cable.
Yeah.
If you're a content creator, you got to get a cable tester. This Behringer right here, and they make another model of this.
Okay, see, now I'm going to buy something because of you, because I've been meaning to buy one.
CT100, and it's $20, $19.
Did you put that in the carousel?
I didn't.
Let me see if I can.
It's on the shop
you know why I need that? Because what I'll do now is I'll pull out my multimeter, and I'm sitting there looking like a nerd, testing all the things. This is way faster. So I'd rather spend $20 on that than me sitting here tweaking out with my $200 Fluke multimeter.
Yeah,
which does the
got
exact same
XLR,
thing.
it's got 1/4 inch, it has tiny telephone for patch bays for studios, it's got MIDI, it's got 1/4 inch, it's got, even if you've got some old school phonograph or whatever, you need RCA, it's got RCA, and all you do is just plug one end into the other, click on the lights and just
I just stuck one in the
bit.
carousel. I think that's the one you're talking about, Chris.
But yeah, I had a sound issue, and I went back and I was listening to the podcast, and I was like, I think it's a cable issue, and I just just check a cable, boom, there it was, bad mic cable, and all mic cables are guaranteed. So
Chris, the one time you told me, right, I had just got a new monitor, plugging in the HDMI cable. I was like, I can't get this thing to work, and you're like, check the cable. Like, well, but this cable's brand new. It's like, check the cable, switch cables, boom, worked. Right?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Deal Live over here. I was going to say it for Chris, Deal Chasers, but I'm looking at Dealcasters Live, and I got it. It's on sale right there. Feature now, CT100.
Yep.
Boom. This is getting bought today. Temporarily out of stock. No.
What? That's the thing too. Prime just it cleaned.
Man, they cleaned the warehouse out. That is nuts. There are so many things that, like, oh, I'm gonna get this. Oh, no, you're not. It's gone. And I was like, man, you got to move quick on Prime Day, bro.
Yep.
Yes.
You know what we should do? We should plan now, because Jim is the planner. We should plan now for that November joint, like right before, right after Black Friday.
We're already working on it.
All right.
I kid you not. We'll have to.
I'll be ready. Are you gonna do like a marathon thing, dude? You just be here all day?
We actually have found that we have a process. We'll definitely be here on Black Friday, but we've learned some things from Prime Day
From before.
That we have a bigger strategy now. And
see.
But we're also gonna. I think we're.
I thought you guys were just pray and spray people.
Oh no. Oh
no.
Sorry, that was another one of my horrible Marine jokes.
No, it's definitely been but we're going to start doing more on you keep putting that little YouTube thing in my head, and so we're working on our YouTube, but we're not like you and I talked about before. We don't feel like, oh, I've got to do YouTube, and that's where I'm putting all my eggs in the YouTube basket. That's not going to happen.
Oh no, nobody should egg all the baskets anyway. But I will definitely say something that's funny about YouTube recently is because of the growth of TikTok and IG and some of the other things like this that are, sort of moving around, people are getting worried. Trust me, YouTube is not going to stand there and take that, so they're course correcting now. And the latest stat says that 70% YouTube viewership is like 70% in comparison to linear TV. Now linear TV is the afterthought. That, my friends, is freaking mind-blowing. And I'm thinking, as I'm reading this article, man, somebody got their numbers wrong, whatever. Jim, you know what I do every day? Go in the house, pop on the TV. A lady, she runs the lights. I'm home. She pops on the TV. She opens up the Apple TV now, launches the YouTube app, and it's like, I'm good to go. And then it'll just automatically start playing what I have in my queue. And I was like, yeah, I basically, on all the remotes, I'm hitting the red button. Like, I only go to TV to watch, football and football, oblong and round. It's really weird, but it's 100% the case now. So, yeah, man, like if you thought it's too late to be a creator, you're wrong. If you thought I'm too old to be a creator, you're wrong. Look, it's gray. I didn't paint this, no special. That's just legit. Like, no follicles to speak of. Yeah. So no such animal as I'm too old. No such animal as I'm not good enough, or I don't know this, or I don't know that. Now is the time to be a creator, because now, like, the next Oprah is coming from YouTube. It's kind of Mr. Beast right now, but I mean, even the next Mr. Beast is coming from there.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think you bring up a great point, Doc. I mean, the three of us are all around the same age, right? And I really just got started in doing the live streaming thing, 2018. I mean, I was doing digital stuff, and Chris, same way, coming from the music industry, starting out in podcasting. And I think it goes back to what you said, is quit making excuses, quit saying, oh, I'm too old. I can't, just do it. People want to help you.
The largest growing segment, Jim, 55 plus. I was like, what? Absolutely, though, the largest growing segment. And so again, anecdotally, I try to align what the article says to myself, right? Yep. And then I'm looking at mother-in-law, 76, just discovered, like, she wants to go back to some of the old Okinawan recipes before they get lost. She wants to, like, catch up, because she's not there. She hasn't been able to go back home for like 4 or 5 years. And so she starts digging in, and then now that's all she watches, because I got her premium. See, at first it was like, I don't like those commercials. They're dumb. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I got you. So they made Family Plan. I put her on. Now she don't have commercials. Yo, she's sitting on the edge of the couch, notebook, writing down all the things. And then she goes, do you know how much Japanese TV I can watch on YouTube? I go, yeah, I know. She goes, hey, why you didn't tell me before? I was like, I told you. Oh, nah. No, you didn't listen, right? Now she's like, I can actually watch it in Japanese. I'm like, hi, wakarimashita. She's like, now she's all about it. That's all she does is watch, cool Okinawan and Japanese shows on YouTube, and it's all the cooking stuff. So I eat well now. Whenever I go over, say, check this out. I made this. Check this out. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Oh, so you did have the ulterior motive there. You wanted some better food.
Come on,
out of the
I ain't no fool, Chris. Awesome. Come on, I got to maintain my figure.
Yeah. So before we sign off, I did want to ask you one more thing, Doc, because you are doing this, and you might have heard Chris and I talk about this at the beginning. What do you think of the whole idea of getting yourself a .live to redirect people to your content?
100%. The old school adage of it has to be a .com because no one's going to understand, that's gone. First of all, when was the last time you typed in a link? Now, we're nerds. We probably type in links more than normal, but most folks don't type in links anywhere. You press links. So who cares? It could be .Beelzebub. If it was going to work, it's going to work. Right? Again, the complaints I posted on my Instagram yesterday. BCD is habit forming, right? And that's blame, complaining, and defending. So this is why you got to get off of that. Like even like trust me, I got road rage. And my thing now is try not to complain about the idiots that can't drive in traffic, because it puts you in a negative energy that you don't know. You drag it around with you longer. You know what I'm saying? So even Chris was joking with you about, having the case of the Mondays, which is Office Space, one of my favorite movies ever. Like seriously, one of my favorite movies ever.
You got the flare. How many pieces of flare?
Yeah, how many pieces of flare? And I was just thinking about kicking my printer yesterday. So it is definitely my neighbor next door. He comes over every day with his coffee cup to talk to us in the office, and I just started calling him Bloomberg, and then he don't get the reference, but it's kind of funny. Anyway. It's so easy for people to sit there and complain about Mondays, but like, what are you really doing to make it better? Like, I don't even think it's Monday. I'm extremely Japanophile. It's Tuesday to me, so it's just a weird thing. Like, just stop buying into all of the sort of useless things that people say and thinking that you still need a .com when you can't find very many good ones right now. Don't make sense. You need a .live. So I have DocRock.live. You got Dealcaster, .live. Everyone should get a .live if you're Let's Get .live. Yeah. Started a whole brand new company during the pandemic when everyone said you shouldn't, and used a weird domain name. Yep. Because
it was a problem. And instead of like complaining about it, and instead of saying we can't do that, we said we got to find a way to do this. We got to find a way to drive more traffic to where we want them for our show, and that's what that did. That's what it did for you. I'm sure you're seeing like a additional SEO, and how much better is it? Like the fact that the company is Let's Get Live, and the actual thing is Let's Get .live. I mean, it just fits right into the brand.
It's perfect. People's brains will adjust, right? When my grandmother them came here and they thought there's like no way I'm going to ever be able to speak English, and they all speak English perfectly fine now. You know what I'm saying? But everything was hard until it isn't. So, I mean, none of us knew how to drive a car. Not a single one of us was born driving a car. Not a single one of us was born walking, talking, wiping one's own particulars. Like all of this stuff we had to learn. But people be like, I can't learn that. I'm like, you learn how to talk, bro. That's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Like, come on. Half the people that say that can swim. I'm like, you learn how to do something pretty. Our bodies weren't designed for that, but you learned how to do it. So just stop saying dumb stuff to yourself. Jim hears me say this all the time, Chris. So I'll say it for the people listening in the back. If a stranger said to you the things that you say to yourself, you would want to beat that person senseless. Let that marinate for a second.
That's so true. That's so true. And, those of you who have hung with us this entire time and are not inspired, I don't think there's anything else that we got for you, because this has been
12-year Abba Lord, no rocks.
But Jim, any parting words for the car buying public on Amazon or all the rest of the tubes?
Yeah, make sure you follow Doc Rock. If you don't, it's your own fault. And Doc, this is great to finally get you on the show. We'll have to have you come back again sometime. Maybe we can talk you into, because you're, folks, if you didn't know it, Doc is an Amazon influencer. He's just spending all his time on YouTube. So
Sorry.
We'll talk about it. We'll give you some ideas, Doc. You might.
And I'm sending you guys a link to have you guys come on the show and influence people as to why they need to be on Amazon Live.
That sounds.
We know a few things.
I know you guys. It's so polished and it's so amazing. Like, I like it.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate it. All right, and as always, don't fear the gear.